Hello and welcome to Topher Drives, where you join me with my latest purchase. I teased this car in the last video I uploaded about 2 weeks ago, but if you didn't see that video, well then this will be your first time seeing this car. So here it is, my 1999 BMW M Roadster. I don't exactly know why I bought this car other than the fact that it was privately offered to me via a phone call from my buddy Sean down at Couth & Mayer in Peoria, Illinois. The same gentleman that sold me my 360,000 mile BMW E46. And he said, Chris, I've got the perfect car for you. I've got the best driver spec BMW Z3 that you can find for the best price. It's the cheapest one out there. And I said, oh, a Z3, you know, what is it, like 3-4 grand, you know? He's like, oh no, this has the M package on it. To give Sean a little bit of credit, he's not the biggest BMW guy, but when he sent me photos of it, I said, oh wow, that is not only a Z3, technically it isn't a Z3 at all, it's an M Roadster. So, well, I bought it. It wasn't only 3 or 4 grand, it was still probably somewhere in the fair market for a BMW M Roadster. In fact, I'll just tell you, I don't want to hide it. I paid $9,000 for this car as it is, or as it was, I should say. I have done a couple of things to it already, and I'll walk you around the car and I'll show you all that I've done so far. But 9 grand, and good luck finding another one for 9 grand. I think the second cheapest one I've seen on Marketplace was like 12,000 with 180,000 miles on it. So I'm pretty happy with the price that I paid for this M Roadster. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to POV. I'll take you guys for a walk around this car, and then we'll go out for a drive so you can hear this thing as well, because it does have some aftermarket goodies on it. So here it is in all its glory, my Estoril Blue BMW M Roadster. Technically not even titled as a Z3, it's its own separate thing, the M Roadster. When BMW went to design this car and to introduce it in the late 90s, they didn't want to disrespect the already gorgeous existing Z3, so they used, well, pretty much everything and added a different bumper, these as homage to the old BMW 507, some different wheels, some wider quarter panels, different interior bits, and of course the engine from the E36 BMW M3. So this under the hood has the S52 inline 6. From the factory makes about 240 horsepower, and this thing weighs just over 3,000 pounds, so it is honestly very quick. And I want to talk about this. If you all are familiar with DINAN, they're kind of an in-house-ish, not really in-house, but a present amenity at some BMW dealerships. You can have dealer-installed parts on your car, and when this car was new, it received some DINAN upgrades at the dealer. So we have a DINAN exhaust on this car. I hope you can see that. It is a little bit dark in here, I apologize. DINAN lettering here on the trunk, not that that's important, but then we'll go ahead and pop the hood here. Show you what else we've got under here. Kind of a peculiar hood release on this car. It's not traditional, you know, BMW hood release that just pops through the grills. Now I'm completely forgetting where it even is. There it is. Okay. We do have hood struts on this car. Massive hood. I mean, the entire front of the car is just hood. But as you can see here, BMW Estoril Blue, and then we've got this little tag here on the fender that signifies that a DINAN intake was installed. You can see that here. It's a carbon fiber intake that kind of snorkels down under the car, so that's pretty neat. Otherwise, though, I believe this car to be stock. It could have a DINAN tune. That was the thing that they did. They had like a stage 1, 2, and 3. A little DINAN badge there on the front, but I don't know, you know, software-wise what this car has or what it had installed, but the only DINAN bits that I can see are the intake, the exhaust, and then we have these little DINAN stickers on the seats, which I think are kind of cool. I've never seen another M Roadster with the little DINAN bits on the seats, so that is pretty neat. Beautiful S52 inline 6 BMW M Power. And if you're from Europe and you're watching, yes, this car did come with the slightly anemic S52 at first. So the first couple model years of the M Roadster had the early iteration of BMW's inline 6 M engine, but then the later ones in 2000, I want to say 2001 and 2002, They had the S54 from the E46 M3, and they made like 80 more horsepower than this car. So this is an early M Roadster, just has the S52, but still honestly plenty of power, and you guys will see that when we go out on the road in this car. Make sure that is shut. Yep, it feels shut. This kidney grill is slightly loose, but it is an E36 chassis car, so of course we have some weird E36 things going on here. I also want to take a second to shout out Bridgestone for hooking me up with a set of Potenza Sports on this car. When I got this thing, it had an ancient, rock-hard, dry-rotted set of tires on it that totally spoiled the driving experience, and this awesome set of Potenza Sports has totally woken this thing up, really brought it to life, and now it handles excellently. So make sure to hit up Bridgestone if you guys are in the market for tires for your little sports car or anything that you need. Bridgestone has been super awesome to work with, and I would strongly recommend going to them for all of your tire needs. But let's take a look here at the interior of the M Roadster. Now, when I got this car, the driver's seat was disgusting. It was all worn and it was ripped. There was a huge rip here in the bottom of the seat. So I got the seat reupholstered, and now it looks fantastic. I got the bottom part reupholstered, and then I got the top part re-dyed so I could retain the little DINAN badge there, but the driver's seat looks almost new. It's beautiful. The interior itself, otherwise, it's in pretty good shape, honestly. There are a couple things that are a little bit weird about it, like this stick-on carbon fiber trim here in the middle is kind of like bubbling up and peeling a little bit, so that isn't the best thing. This little cover for this thing just comes off. It's kind of neat though. It's got M stitched into it. I think I just want to like ditch this entire center thing and replace it with just like the simple Z3 cup holder setup. But those are quite expensive, so I have not done that yet. The steering wheel's in great shape. We've got M stitching on here, as you can see there. It needs to be cleaned a little bit more, but when I got this car, the steering wheel was so dirty that like all the stitching was black. So when I went to clean the steering wheel, as I started wiping it away, I was like, holy crap, it's got M stitching. So pretty cool. I hope you guys can see that on camera there. But otherwise, the interior is really in pretty good shape. The passenger seat looks nice. The carpet, the floor mats are all in good shape. We've got M-branded floor mats in here. And the only things that aren't so great in the interior, for one, the glove box is mostly falling off of the dashboard. I've got that held in with a long screw on the other side. I believe there are companies that make aftermarket solutions for the glove box because it's such a common failure point in E36 3 Series and Z3s that there has to be a solution for your glove box not falling off. The door panel over here is a little bit too tight, so when you open the door it catches slightly. And then also the seats move forward and backwards on their tracks, and I think that this is due to something called seat bushings. I've read a little bit online that this is also a common issue with E36s and Z3 chassis cars. So, you know, what can you do? It's a 23-year-old BMW. This is just how they were built back in the day. The interiors and everything don't hold up the best. So I'm really not concerned about anything in this car interior-wise because this is how they all are. Unless you have like a super mint cherry example with less than 50,000 miles on it, this is probably how the car is going to have held up. So let's start it up and bring this thing to life so you guys can hear that glorious inline six fed through a DINAN exhaust. We're gonna let this warm up for a second before I rev it because of Vanos and other things that I don't want to make unhappy. When I tell you guys it's been a childhood dream of mine to own an M car, I'm not exaggerating. This is so cool. I know this isn't the most expensive or glorious or sought after M car in the world, but it's an M car and it's mine, and like that's really cool. I never thought that I would actually own an M car, so I'm pretty excited about that. For the sake of you guys, I'm going to roll the windows up so the audio doesn't get all blown out, so you're able to hear me as I speak. One cool thing about convertibles is even when it's super sunny out, the video still looks okay because all the light comes down into the car. We're gonna let this thing warm up for a second before we get to really driving it. But you know, inside the car, driving the car, you can certainly tell that it has 105,000 miles. For instance, the clutch pedal sits quite far to the left, and this is due to something called the clutch pedal pins, which, believe it or not, and I know this is going to sound redundant, is a common issue with these cars. The clutch pedal gets pressed so much and the pins bend, and then the clutch pedal doesn't sit in the right spot. And this doesn't bother me too much because it doesn't quite hit the dead pedal, but it does sit a little too far to the left. Otherwise, as far as drivability things go, the shifter definitely feels like somebody shifted this thing hard a little bit too many times. The 1-2 gear change feels fine, but going into third gear is a little bit iffy. You got to hit it just right because it's very easy to do a first, second, fifth change. I've done that one too many times, and you'll probably see me do that here on this drive because sometimes it just happens. So this car also, I don't want to say it needed a clutch when I bought it, but my buddy Sean down at Kauth and Mayer made me a deal I couldn't refuse, and he went ahead and put in a brand new OEM clutch for me for way below retail. He did it at his cost, so I appreciate him doing that. And if you guys are in the Peoria area, make sure you check them out for all of your Euro car needs. They are just the best with BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Mini, anything that you guys need, they are able to do that for you. So like I said, if you're in that area, check them out. They're great guys, and they did a clutch for me at cost, and I appreciate that. So the clutch in this car feels great. The engagement is perfect. Again, we're letting this thing warm up for just a second here. I get that needle in the middle before I do anything. Look, you guys can see my shadow here on the steering wheel. Yeah. Oh, apologize. It's a little windier than I thought it was today. Hopefully you all can still hear me. I think I am slowly but surely getting used to this shifter. The steering feel in this car is just brilliant. I mean, driving this car reminds me of what BMWs used to feel like. You get in a new M car and everything just feels so simulated and it's so harsh, and like, this car just feels honest and it doesn't feel like it takes itself seriously. It's just an honest little driver's car. And having owned an NA Miata, this just feels like an NA Miata on crack. It's so cool. I mean, it just goes where you point it. These Potenza Sports help it do that. Man, is that just a sweet, sweet inline six in this car. Gotta love it. It does need an alignment, I will say that. Slight alignment is needed, but that's nothing that we can't easily fix. So we'll probably go ahead and do that at some point. But as for right now, I've really just been enjoying this thing, driving it when I have the chance to. And you might be thinking, well, why do you have so many cars? And you know, I honestly think the same thing. I'm just such a sucker when deals like this pop up. I'm so bad at saying no. I mean, $9 grand for an M Roadster. How could anyone say no to that? So here I am. Oh yeah, so much grip. Traction control is intervening there. So much fun. Apologize for the wind. Didn't bring my earmuffs. The one time I don't bring my earmuffs, it's actually windy and I could have used them. Oh well. Even just cruising fifth gear, 2,500 RPM. It makes such a good noise. You do get the odd squeak and rattle here from this interior, but it's a convertible, so you always have some sort of, you know, movement in interiors, especially 23-year-old convertibles like this. They're never going to be super tout and dialed in anymore as they were when they were new. But I mean, as far as steering goes, it's not the quickest steering ever, but it's pretty dang quick. Feels quite similar to an NA Miata. Just gotta love that S52, man. I want to drive one of these with the S54. That's gotta just be mental. I mean, this car feels fast with 240 horse, or with the DINAN bits, it's probably about 260. So we'll be safe and say 260. But even with, I want to say the S54 cars make 320 horsepower. So that would be 60 more horsepower than this car has. I mean, that's just got to be insane. So really only good things so far. I do have an intermittent check engine light, which isn't on right now, but she comes and goes every now and then. They're just so honest, these old M cars, which is why we love them. I'm surprised that these cars aren't worth more, because I mean, E36 M3s are just out of this world as far as pricing goes. I mean, you cannot get an E36 M3 with 105,000 miles on it for $9 grand. I mean, that just isn't out there. I mean, maybe like a really clapped automatic sedan, but I mean, I wouldn't really call this car clapped. It's got some paint issues here and there, but drivability wise, and I suppose I am probably about 11 grand into this car now with everything that I've done to it, between the clutch, some of the other odds and ends I've done mechanically, and the driver's seat getting reupholstered. I'm probably 11,000 into this car, but you cannot have, and this person is going to just pull out directly in front of me, love that. Drew 5, learn how to drive, please. You can't have an E36 M3 similarly in this condition. So I think these cars are a little bit underappreciated, and if you guys can find one for a good price, I would certainly recommend buying it, because powertrain wise, it's an M3. I mean, it's everything that you get in the E36 M3 in America, that is. Europe got much more power with their M3. God, BMWs take so long to get up to temp. It still isn't warmed up. I think it's close enough now. It's about 80% of the way warmed up. Just want you guys to hear this S52 through the DINAN catback. Oh, and there's fifth. I told you guys I'd do it at least once. First, second, fifth. Oh, it makes a good noise. Such an honest and raw inline-6 exhaust note. No turbos to spoil anything. It's just such a pleasure to drive this car, really. I mean, realistically, you can have one of these for 14, 15 grand. And that would probably get you one with lower mileage and better cosmetic condition than mine. So 15 grand for an inline-6 rear-wheel drive manual transmission M car. I mean, come on. How could you say no to that? I certainly wouldn't. And I haven't, as you can see. With that being said, I don't know that I'm going to keep this car forever. You know, I'll have my fun with it for a little bit, and then maybe I'll sell it to one of you if any of you are interested in buying it. But for now, I don't think it's for sale yet. I think I'm still going to enjoy the rest of the season here. We've got about another month of nice weather here in Michigan, and we'll see if I want to store it through this winter. But I'm certainly enjoying the drive right now, and don't really plan on getting rid of it right this second. Yeah, wheel looked like it was about to fall off of that truck. Michigan is such a bad place for cars. It just destroys them. Glorious exhaust note here. I think the DINAN stuff is somewhat uncommon too. I don't really see, because obviously since I own one of these, I'm checking values and I'm checking the market almost on a daily basis, and I really don't see ones a lot that have DINAN accessories. And if I do see them, they're the S54 powered cars, which are like 40 grand. So, you know, I would recommend you just get the S52 car. I mean, it's like half the price, looks the same, just different engine. It's just like buying an E36 M3 versus an E46 M3. Tasty, tasty. So there you have it, my latest purchase, my BMW M Roadster. And Before you guys go, I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on the ML55. As you can see, the hood is in service position and this car is still being refreshed. It's still being worked on. And hopefully by the end of all this, it'll actually run properly. We can go out and do a proper drive in this car. I'm really looking forward to actually being able to drive it, and hopefully it'll be ready in time for winter, because this would be a really good winter car with its lifted suspension and all-wheel drive. So that would be quite nice, but at the moment, it's in a million pieces. It's getting valve cover gaskets, intake gaskets, injectors are getting flushed out. It's getting a new fuel filter. It's getting new spark plugs, new coils, new plug wires. It's getting, there's like a new intake tube, a new air filter. It's like everything maintenance-wise and even further than that you're able to do with this engine. So hopefully that helps it run better. We'll put some fresh gas in it, and hopefully this thing will run like it did when it was new. Hopefully it'll run like it was supposed to. But as for this car, I mean, I'm really just at the point where I don't care too much about the little cosmetic things. Obviously the wheels could use a bit of a refresh. There's peeling paint on the trunk, but I don't really care. This car drives great, and it's so mechanically sound at the moment. And I think that I'm just going to drive it. I don't think that I really want to worry about anything else. I did the driver's seat. I put the new Bridgestone tires on it, and now I am quite pleased. So look forward to seeing more on this M Roadster. Hopefully we'll be able to find something else to do with it. And if anything, we'll take it on some comfort mode drives together and just have some fun. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you like the car. And well, I'll see you hopefully very soon in the next video. Take care.